Hey everybody! In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to use blueprint edits.
Oh my god, dude. Blueprint edits.
If you've been playing Fortnite for a while, you've probably heard about blueprint edits, but even if you've practiced them, most of you aren't using blueprint edits the right way.
Oh, he doesn't know how to blueprint reset. That's so sad.
If you really think you know exactly how blueprint edits work and that you are using them well, please watch these clips before you skip to the next video. Take a look at this. How is it possible that I can edit a floor through a ramp, a wall through a ramp, a cone through a floor? All of these tricks are possible with blueprint edits, and I'll explain how they work in a minute, but first there are definitely some beginner level players watching this video, and they might not even know what blueprint edits are, so give me a chance to explain. Overall, blueprint edits just give you more control over everything you build. Learning to blueprint edit will improve the reach and consistency of your edits, and it even helps with your awareness during fights. It improves just how well you can keep track of your opponents. Blueprint edits also unlock some important abilities that you would not have otherwise. So a good place to start with blueprint edits is from inside a box, standing on a cone. This is one of the most common ways to use a blueprint edit. There's a player 2 tile spaces away from you, and you're trying to place a wall and edit it. Notice that with a weapon equipped, I can't edit that wall that I'm aiming at. It's too far away. To edit that wall from this position, you have to get into build mode and make sure your wall piece is selected. Now I can edit, and this is a blueprint edit. Blueprint editing doesn't just mean that you have your build blueprints out. For a blueprint edit to truly be a blueprint edit, you need to be out of range of normal combat mode edits. So as an example here, what you should notice, as long as all of these builds are placed, I can edit anything. I can edit this cone right here. I can edit this wall to my side. I can edit the floor above me, even though I have my wall piece equipped here. Because these pieces aren't out of range yet, these aren't blueprint edits. But once I'm in a position where I can no longer edit a wall with a weapon equipped, that's where blueprint edits start giving you interesting powers. Like, for example, being able to edit that wall without aiming at it. Let's pretend that far wall wasn't there. If I aim my crosshair on this wall to the right, you can see that the wall is glowing, meaning that I'm able to edit it in combat mode with my weapon out here. As I aim up and to the left, I'm out of reach of that normal edit. In this position where my crosshair is lined up, if I wanted to place a wall, even though I'm aiming at that wall on the right, that's a connection point for that far wall. Because I can place that wall there, that also means that I can edit it without moving my crosshair position. I'm aiming at that wall on the right, but when I edit, it selects the far wall that I'm trying to grab onto. In this situation where your opponent is 2 tile spaces away from you, by aiming at the top left corner of that right wall, you can stand in a much safer position where your opponent can't see you. Let's take a look at a different example of blueprint edits. In this situation, my opponent and I both have the same angle, so neither one of us has an advantage in this fight. The winner is the player who can more safely isolate and very safely break and replace that wall, and then work on, once they break the wall, using that connection point that we just talked about to very safely, from that safe position, being able to edit the wall there. And here we can see on that enemy player's screen that it might be more helpful to see some of these blueprint edit tricks in real fights. So, because you can edit that wall from that safe position using the connection point. A better place to stand, though, where you do have the advantage, is just 1 tile space to your left. So in this position, if that player is 2 spaces in front of me, I want to go through this wall to my left, rebox out in this space, and now this gives me a true right-hand peek angle, where it's this vertical line that I'm peeking around, and that's potentially 2 walls, 300 health worth of protection in between me and that player, and this is an excellent position, if not the best position, to try to safely break and replace that wall. One thing that you need to do here, though, is make sure that you isolate the angle, because if this player has a peanut butter edit, and you try to peek out to the side there to try to shoot and break that wall, that player might be able to jump and shoot you and catch you off guard from this position right here. So to avoid that, you need to use the cone or ramp inside this space in front of you. I can edit my cone like this, or if I want to place a ramp, I can flip it like this, and that gives me that excellent angle where I can safely break and replace this wall right here. And watch what happens as I replace this wall. I can continue trying to use blueprint edits the right way. I can use this connection point by aiming at this floor here. Most players telegraph to their opponent. They give their opponent too much information by moving out to the side and trying to aim at the wall. But the safest way that I can do that still puts me in a position where I'm over peeking. So if we watch this split screen view here, this is the best position I can stand in where I'm still aiming at this wall, and look at what happens on my opponent's screen. As I open up this edit, my opponent can still shoot me. So to keep yourself safer when you're looking for these blueprint edits, what you have to do is use that connection point. I can move more to my left here, and I can still make that edit very safely by lining up my crosshair on this floor. If we remember that idea of connection points, if that wall back there didn't exist, wherever I line up my crosshair to place that wall, I should also be able to make that safe blueprint edit. And now if we watch on the split screen view, as I open up that edit, look at that. The enemy player can't see me. On his screen, he's completely blind as that edit is being opened up and now closed. And yet on my screen, nothing interesting is happening. I don't need to move. All I need to do is use that connection point by lining up my crosshair on that top corner of that floor there, in that same position where if the wall didn't exist, it would place. So hopefully that idea makes sense, and that's also the same way that you can edit, for example, cones through ramps, just like this, using that same idea of connection points. Look at that, I just edited that cone through the ramp and the floor. That's the same, in the same way that I'm able to edit that wall behind this cone right here, and really make some tricky plays that confuse enemy players. That's the same way that I would, for example, edit this floor underneath me through this cone using that connection point there. So that's what blueprint edits are, and hopefully this gives you a better understanding of how you can use blueprint edits. There's one other situation where blueprint edits help you quite a bit with your awareness, with your aim, and really just everything that has to do with close range fights, and that's blueprint resets. In a lot of situations, you'd want to make a wide open edit against a player in the tile space in front of you. For example, I'm able to very safely make that edit while hiding behind my cone, which gives me peeker's advantage as I stand up and shoot that player. With blueprint resets, which is what I just did there, after I make a wide edit like that, I'm able to shoot, and then using a blueprint edit, I can reset that wall. From the moment that I start aiming at this player's head, I can shoot and reset the wall very quickly without needing to move my crosshair. So that makes your awareness in fights a lot better. It makes it a lot easier to keep track of your opponent when you don't have to be aiming away from that player to reset those edits that you make in a close range fight. These blueprint resets also allow you to reset edits that you can't see. So for example, this top right 3 tile edit, if I need to shoot and reset that, there's no way for me to do that without a blueprint edit. What I need to do is shoot, get into build mode, make sure my wall is equipped, and then reset the wall. And that's how you see players doing this kind of thing without needing to run over this little edge right here, grab onto that edit, and then back up and reset. Blueprint resets are one of the more important skills to practice because you don't want to end up like this player here. He just edited open this wall, and he doesn't know how to reset that edit because he can't see that wall. So that's why you really need to practice getting into build mode, pulling out your wall bind, aiming anywhere in this space here, and then just resetting the wall like normal. If you can do that, then you can also shoot a player and quickly reset walls. That's a good place to start, but hopefully everything so far has made sense, and hopefully you have some new ideas about how you can start putting on safer pressure in close range fights and using blueprint edits and this idea of safe connection points to more safely confuse your opponents and win fights from a distance. It might be more helpful to see some of these blueprint edit tricks used in real fights, so let's start with this example right here. So with a nice little protected side jump, you can put yourself into that position where you are 2 tile spaces back and 1 space to the left. This is that great position to start trying to pressure the wall. I quickly realized here that I needed to control those extra pieces in between me and my opponent. And here you can see we're just taking trades. I'm trying to find that safe position where I isolate damage on the wall to try to break it. I overpeak a little bit, I take some damage. And even though my opponent is aiming better than me and out trading me in these moments, because this position is just so strong, I keep the advantage here and I'm able to win the fight pretty easily from that right hand peek. This example here is pretty much the exact same thing. I see that my opponent has that safe blueprint edit setup. He is 2 tile spaces back and 1 tile space to his left. He had the advantage there, but because he didn't try to capitalize on it, he let me find that same setup. So see how I repositioned there so that I could try to isolate that angle and safely break and replace that wall. I thought I would take the wall there, but he ended up damage canceling my shot. You saw that as I tried to break that wall, he made an edit, which canceled the damage of my shotgun. See, the wall's at 21 health here, but because that window edit had just been made, my shotgun just did damage to the player, which is okay. But there I was kind of stuck trying to edit the wall. I took some damage in return, but it's okay because my position is just so much stronger than that player's. I failed to take the wall one time, so I get back to trying to safely break and replace, deal a little bit more damage, finally break and replace the wall. And notice here, I'm not even using that connection point that we talked about. I am peeking out a little bit too far, but still, as I make that edit, my angle is just so much stronger. There's 2 full health brick walls in between me and that player inside the box, and I just have all the advantages in the world here to safely win that fight from so far away.
GG, Brian.
Hopefully you're starting to see a trend here because this example is exactly the same thing. I managed to reposition into this best spot, and notice here, my opponent, whatever edit he makes, risks him taking bleed damage through that wall. When he edits this wall, it's on very low health. I don't have to edit the wall in front of me because I'm peeking from behind a full health wall. I managed to break and replace the wall, and this player's really thinking hard. What should he do? I even made some mistakes in this fight. I took some damage from his shotgun, but just because my angle is so much stronger, I'm able to control this fight. And now let's see what happens here. I did peek out a little bit too far to make the edit. I could have used that connection point to change that 6 tile edit. So if we set that up here, that situation looked something like this. That player was hiding behind that little wall there. I could have used this connection point right here to grab onto that wall edit, change it into something that opened up that angle so that I could have shot that player in the feet. But instead, I just keep abusing that same angle. Once you get that wall there, it's really hard to lose. And I even over peaked at the end there. So hopefully you're seeing just through that positioning alone and that understanding of the blueprint edit, you can make mistakes and still win these fights. This here is an example of blueprint resets. So what you can see here is I'm hiding behind this cone. I know there's a player in front of my wall, and as I open up this edit, I can very safely peek from my cone and shoot the player. He's trying to pickaxe and break my wall, but because I opened up that edit so wide, it's pretty much impossible for him to do that. But what I need to do there after I shoot is reset the wall, and I do that with a blueprint reset. So notice there, I don't move my crosshair at all. I just get into build mode, make sure my wall piece is equipped, and then I reset the build. In this example from a one-on-one box fight, I do exactly the same thing. This player is waiting to try to punish a mistake. And now I could do something interesting here, like reposition, but I can also just open up a wide edit and then use that blueprint reset to try to bait that player into shooting. This example here should look familiar. This player doesn't realize he's at a disadvantage. He tries to break the wall after I had broken and replaced it, and I've just got this very safe angle where I can hit that max damage headshot without having to worry about anything. And I don't think in any of these examples yet, I don't think I've used that safe crosshair placement. So even for me, in the fights that I take, my blueprint edits could be even stronger if I tried to make them more from this safe position where I'm looking for that connection point on this floor to make that blueprint edit without my opponent seeing me. Blueprint edits are just as important, or maybe even more important, when you're playing duos and trios. In this example here, we can see that it's exactly the same thing. I'm behind this safe peanut butter edit. I try to break and replace that wall from far away, and that's what allows me and my teammate here to enjoy such a nice angle as we try to pressure these players with an advantage. Getting that control from far away and early allows you to win that 50-50 spray duel inside a box much more decisively. With all this, I hope you guys have some ideas now about how to use blueprint edits more effectively. Just remember, the build you're trying to edit has to match with the building piece that you have selected in your building quick bar. If you're still struggling with this or anything else, feel free to reach out to me about coaching on Discord or shoot me a quick message during my live streams on Twitch. But in the meantime, have fun practicing, and I'll see you guys next time.